How'd you guys like that? Took me forever to make me a new intro. Man, I swear. It's trying to find the perfect music to convey the things that you want to convey with it is so difficult. And the reason why I had to do that is generally because Spotify was like, "Oh, hey, look, you've got copyrighted music." And I'm like, "What? No, that's not right." So I look and it's like, "Oh, the person I use only licensed it to YouTube." Great. Okay. So I have to pull down all my episodes and redo them over there. So fun stuff. I love it. I love it. So anyways, yes, I hope you guys liked it. But anyways, what's up everybody? How are we doing? I haven't got to see y'all in a good minute. I hope everyone's doing well. I know that I've missed you. So with that being said, a little bit of new stuff going on. So good news is I found a different job and started it and liking it a lot. And now I actually get a normal schedule. So I don't have to fly by the seat of my pants every freaking time. Yay! So that's cool. Let's see here. What else is new? Oh, Patreon. Patreon, the price has been lowered. And it's just $1 a month. And you get extra content. You get all the overtime episodes that we make. You get vlogging stuff, musings from the car. You get to see kind of like what I get up to. So that's cool. $1 a month. That's all we ask. And you get to fund really cool things when you do that. For instance, I don't know how many of you guys know, but if you keep up with the shorts that I'm putting out, you'll notice that I'm actually going to be putting out a little documentary pretty soon that I filmed while I was out in the Smoky Mountains with Harley Owens. And let me tell you guys what, it was an amazing time. We had a ton of action out there. I think we put eyeballs on at least 5 Sasquatch. Now, let's see here. I'll keep that as incentive to come and watch it for when it does come out. It's going to be awesome. You guys are going to really dig it. I promise you that. All right, so the next thing of business I got before we get started, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about one of the, how would you say this? Not sponsor, but affiliate. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So when it comes to merch, I got shirts and blankets and even a scented candle. But the most coolest thing that I've got going on is cups. Now, with that being said, let me show you guys the official cup of the podcast. Look how cool that is. It's getting a little bit of overexposure from the light. But this thing is absolutely amazing. And our very own moderator, Jeanette Zielinski from Mystic Mountain Creations, is the one who makes them. Her and her husband. Now, all of my prints are there. If you guys want anything of mine, go get it. It's the same price, just about as what was going on over at Printify, but a little bit extra. But the quality of this cup is just impeccable, and it's so much better. And the time and effort that they put into it is amazing. But also, not only is my stuff there, I mean, Tom's stuff there is there, Magic stuff is there. All of our friends' stuff, generally speaking, is there. And if they're not, y'all, if you watch this, get a hold of her and get your stuff out there because they're awesome. But the cool thing is, not only is just the merch of the shows there and all that, you can get a print of whatever you want from them, and they do such an amazing job. I mean, check this ink print out. I mean, guys, that is beautiful. So if you guys are into a looking for a gift for somebody, and you want to get them something cool, and it doesn't have to be Fisher Spam's brand, go check them out. They've got all kind of stuff, and they can do whatever you want. So, there we go. That's the suggestion. Now, for tonight, we've got my good buddy, Mr. Derin Franks, coming on. Now, you guys have probably seen him from Tom's show, but he's also been on some cool stuff like Bigfoot Odyssey and things like that. So, you guys might have seen him. He's a really cool dude, and he has an amazing set of stories. So, with that being said, let's welcome to the stage Mr. Derin Franks. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. What's up, everybody in the chat?
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you came, man. So, Mr. Derin, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, all right. I was a drywall contractor for about 27 years here in North Alabama. Father of 3 boys. They're men now, really, and they're successful.
Awesome.
Here in the South, we instill manners and morals and everything in our kids and our family. It's just taking them hunting and fishing and outdoors. It creates, gives them patience. It just gives everybody growing up. It instills patience. And
Right.
a lot of things that you might need in life that you don't think that you could use, but anyway, with that, yeah, I'm retired now, of course.
Yeah.
But if you want me to go ahead and get into this,
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
If you'd like to.
So, I fail to tell this on every podcast, but I'd like to share with you guys what really got me to be in the woods as much as I was. Of course, I've always enjoyed hunting. It's just something that my father taught us. There's 3 of us brothers, and so I've always enjoyed it. So, in 2017, we have up here. We have Bankhead National Forest.
Right.
It's the foothills of the last of foothills of Appalachian Mountains. Runs right down here in North Alabama. It's beautiful, big forest. It's old growth forest. I mean, it's we're down here, and they got a management area on there. And what I mean, the forest itself, I believe, is over 200,000 acres. And the management area, there's 97,000 acres of management area out of this,
Right.
So a good portion of it. And so they manage the deer herd that way. They manage the deer herd, and that's why management area. That's where they get the name, because that's what they do. They manage the
right.
all the wildlife. So, but during the hunting season, they have management hunts, and you're allowed to hunt on these management areas and that's how that's their way also controlling the population. And you pay extra $15 for a management license, so it goes toward the management projects. And I mean, I can't say enough stuff about the management area and the way they do it. I've been totally into it for up until 2017. I mean, just hunting every management hunt I could. As a matter of fact, I was with a buddy in 2016, the year before I had my encounter, and he killed a state record buck on this management property. It's it's called the Alvis buck. It's a Alabama state record, 225 point. Boone and Crockett. This thing had 27 points, just a massive rack, like it had a rocking chair on top of his head. And
wow,
it had come by me that morning, and because he was hunting just across the hollow, me and him were the only 2 that went in this place. And this thing stood there. You can't shoot until daylight. And I mean, I'm stickler about doing everything correctly, because if you harvest the deer the wrong way, then you're going to lose it. And it's big. So anyway, here's this big, giant, massive buck standing in front of me. And it stood there for it was there 5 minutes, rubbing on a tree. And, rut's totally on. And I'm just waiting on daylight for it to come, get daylight so I can take my shot. And a doe comes running between me and this buck, and he just bounds toward this doe and takes off. He chases this doe across the hollow and over where my buddy's at, and it gets daylight, and boom, I hear him shooting. It was great. I helped him get out of the woods, but it was so. Say that just to say that this place where I was hunting, means a lot to me. So in 2017, I was on one of these management hunts. So when you first go on these management hunts, it's a 3-day hunt. This one was a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday hunt. Sometimes there's Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, but anyway, this was a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And of course, I was looking forward to it. It was the last management hunt of the year. The rut's in really, really hard. So, this is the most exciting hunt with the most action, that I usually go on all year. Excuse me. And so on the morning of the hunt, before you started, man, do you have any questions or anything?
I mean, the only thing that I really can ask a question about that is, it sounds to me like, unlike normal, I guess you would say, tags, like you would buy the tag and it's for the entire season until you fill it. It sounds like this is for a specific day. Is that how it works there? Okay.
It is. Matter of fact, you go to the ranger station. You have to drive all the way up into the ranger station, where it's 20 miles on up. Everybody's at the ranger station the morning of the hunt, and they're all in line. It's like a McDonald's. You go to the driving window. You show them you got to buy a management permit. Where you get your license or whatever. So you buy a management permit. So you show the game wardens they're there, and you show them your management permit and your hunting license, and they give you a piece of paper. It's a permit, their permit for you to be there in case you get stopped by a game warden. So you got to have all that together, of course. The morning of the hunt, it's 5 o'clock in the morning when they start giving out permits, and everybody's in line up there. You see some old friends, up there or whatever, and so we're so everybody's going whatever. So go through the line, they get my permit, and I'll go back to my place where I hunt. So where I hunt is when you're coming into the forest from on Highway 33 out of a little town called Moulton. Where I hunt is the first turnoff to go into the management area. It's called the Sipsey River Trail head. And where I hunt also is the first place that you can come to hunt, which is, it's odd, to everybody, but from hunting up there so long, I've learned everybody goes off in the backwoods. They'll drive down, go deep in the woods, and they harvest a bunch of decent bucks there. Don't get me wrong. Several of the state records have come from Bankhead, but I hunt up front because I realized that after the season progresses and these hunters go back in the woods, these deer have learned to come up front, because everybody goes deep in the back. Therefore, the place I got at this specific time is really active. So
the pressure of everybody going out deep is pushing everything up front. Right. Yes. Makes sense.
Yes. And I'm that also may have to do with what happened that day. Let's just say that. I'm just going to throw these thoughts out there. This is a live broadcast. I appreciate you having me on. So I just kind of, I'm trying to put everything together myself, man.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
Yeah, like everybody else is. And I appreciate anybody's input, knowledge, whatever you think, because we've got to learn this thing together. I'm just trying to figure it out ever since it happened. I went down, let's just say it's a lot more than just a rabbit hole. Okay?
Right.
Everybody, marks it off. Oh, we went down the rabbit hole. Well, this is a lot more than that. It totally takes over your, and I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. It's not like something bad. I mean, to be interested in the subject and to see all the evidence and everything that comes on YouTube is I enjoy it so much. It's so fascinating to me, you know,
Right.
about all the topics, man. From
Right.
big UFOs, you know,
Yeah.
divine intervention, you know, stuff like
Hmm.
that. But I'm sorry if I get carried away sometimes. But let me just get back.
I chase
So
squirrels all the time. You're good.
you can't teach a squirrel. No. Yeah, but so anyway, I'm on one. I'm going to my place. I get my management permit. Go to the game
Uh-huh.
warden station. My management license. Get all my paperwork ready. And
Hmm.
so I go to my place to hunt. And I get there. Um, not really late, but a little bit late. You know, I get settled in and everything. About it was getting right at daylight when I'm walking in. I'm
Right.
usually there before daylight, but you know, first morning you always a little bit late there because you got to do everything. So I go in and I get at my place. So on the management area, they got these beautiful green fields because you can bow hunt the management area all year long, uh, and they have primitive gun hunts too. But only on these special hunts can you hunt with a rifle.
Right.
And
Right.
so I use a 30-30 and have since I was a kid. And
Right.
so I go in and this where I'm sitting, there's a green field. Okay,
Hmm.
the green field is the first green field when you come into the forest management area. You know, you find on the map, but they planted it in a zigzag shape. It's a mile long, and every 100,
Mm.
150 yards, it does like a Z. And they intentionally plant it that way
Hmm.
to accommodate more hunters. You know, because
Ah.
you can go around the corner, and I mean, if somebody's bow hunters will say that because it's 100,
Hmm.
150 yards every turn. So I mean, there could be a lot of bow hunters on this field, but and they without any chance of them hitting each other or seeing each other. So that's why they
Right.
plant.
Makes
I'll
sense.
say it comes into play later on. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. The management area, they're really smart. Game wardens, the whole thing is they're really intelligent.
Right.
Um, so anyway, they on this field, I go to my place, which is I'm in a hollow. So the field's over here, and this hollow goes down and up,
Hmm.
and I sit over here where I'm looking back. I'm level with the hollow, but I'm looking back at the green field. I'm level with
Right.
the green field. I'm looking back at it, so I can get them kind of come in and out because they're the way they usually do everything usually works is in the morning they would start moving,
Hmm.
get up out of their bedding area, which was on the other side of the green field. Bunch of
Right.
big stuff where they bed down. They get up and they fade across the green field, get a little grass or whatever they do.
Hmm.
Then they would come down out of the green field, kind of right in front of me, kind of,
Hmm.
and funnel down, you know, this hollow, foraging for acorns and stuff. It's January. It's the last of January, 1st of February. Excuse me. And so everything's on the ground. All the leaves are off the ground, off the trees, and
Hmm.
they're foraging down through here, picking up acorns. Really harvest time. In the woods that people should know. At the end of the wintertime. So anyway, I'm sitting there, like I've done so many times before,
Hmm.
and sure enough, these two person they might get there's two young does that come start out of the green field and down toward me in the hollow. They're really
Hmm.
young, uh, so I'm not gonna harvest these young deers. It's
Right.
good to see everything start moving because it usually
Right.
turns into a lot of exciting stuff happening. But anyway, these two doe come down, they in front of me, and they, like I said, they forage down through there, and they just kind of walking together, and
Hmm.
they move on down, in the hall out of sight, and I'm sitting there and just waiting on the parade to start, more or less, but
Right.
nothing else comes out, you
Mm.
know, that yeah, I mean, which I thought, well, I mean, it was strange at the time because there's usually more. I mean, it was just a bunch of does or whatever, but there's
Right.
usually more traffic coming out than that as far as deer and everything.
Right. Because
But
presumably it's still the rut and
yeah,
February, it's cold, things should be moving some, right?
right. I mean, the most
Right.
active, no, but it's the first day, and animals are weird. If you ever try to predict them, don't expect to be disappointed because you can't.
Right.
I see Daryl Denton. I was gonna say hi to Daryl. If he's in the chat, I think he sent me a message. But anyway, I always mention Daryl later. So anyway, these two doe come down and nothing else come that morning.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't hunt in the middle of the day. I mean, there just wasn't anything active. I got bored. I got up, from my place, and it's the first day of the hunt. So it's the middle of the day. I got up and I actually went. I don't live far from where I was hunting, although I had to drive to the ranger station. But I went back home, grabbed a sandwich or something, a couple bottles of water, and messed around. My buddy's got some property up there. Stopped by and say hi to him, and went back to my place for the evening hunt. So I got back in there. I got back in there about 1:30, 2 o'clock, something like that, and to hunt the evening hunt. And so I'm waiting to get in there, and you got 3 or 4 hours, and in the evening they'll start moving back to the do what they done. They'll forge right back, and they'll kind of take the same route back up across the green field, give them a little grass or whatever. I guess they kind of and go back to their bedding area and get ready to bed down for the evening, for the night.
Right.
But very out of character, as I wasn't sat down maybe 10 minutes, and these two doe that I'd seen that morning come running back up my side of the ridge, straight at me, and it surprised me because they were running, and I.
Uh-oh.
But they run up, and then when they got closer to me, man, I could recognize that they were just spooky. They were big-eyed. They were confused looking, not like head down, those from the bucks on those. She'll walk really fast with her head down, but they weren't acting. Plus, they were actually too young to even be breeding to look back. But that wasn't the case anyway, because they come up, they were just acting spooky. They were there. One of them looked at me, and then the other one just looked back behind it.
Uh-oh.
Really weird. So but they
now hold on a second. You're going in and out a little bit with your signal. So they looked at you and had fear in their face. Now, before all that, like, I guess the question would be, like, did they do any kind of snorts or anything? Like how deer do when they're alerted, the snort, stomp, things like that. Any precursors?
No, they were young.
Okay.
Come from. I'm sorry about this internet.
It's okay.
It seems to do this when we start talking about these things and these creatures. I'm sorry. It may be nothing, but this all started with Bigfoot odds.
It's funny that right when we're getting to the juicy bits, it's like, oh, I'm gonna mess with the signal just a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Not counting anything out at this point. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
Whoever, just let me tell my story and I'll be done. Okay. So anyway, these two deer come running up at me, and they stopped, and they just acted really weird, and they took on off, walking into a trot and into a full run back the way they come. I mean, something was chasing them, but I figured out later on it was a predator. It had to be some kind of predator.
Right.
We got coyotes here. And bobcats, but we don't have any bear, we don't have any wolves, we don't have any mountain lions, nothing like that. The only predators we really got are, maybe a pack of coyotes, bobcat, nothing, mate.
I've got something to add to that in a minute, but let's keep going.
Okay, so I'm sitting here, whatever was chasing, whether it was a buck or a predator or whatever. I'm waiting to see for it to come
Mm-hmm.
out or whatever, because I mean they were running like it was right on its heels, their heels, but I never seen anything, and I had a pretty long view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So to not see anything was also puzzling. I mean, but animals are weird. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So and we want to remain comfortable, so I just wrote it off as nothing. It's
Mm-hmm.
acting weird. But did you want to add something? Or
Well, I can, yeah. So a little bit about that. I do know that Bankhead, as well as I want to say it was Warrior down south, further
yeah,
south.
yeah,
At some point in time, I don't remember when it was. I want to say close to 2010. They started reintroducing the Mexican black wolf into those things to help with management. And I don't know how public they've been about it, but I know that like if you dig deep enough, you can find the records of it. And the only reason why I even know this is because I used to work with a guy, uh, and he was going out there to do some hunting, and I'm pretty sure it was Bankhead. I'm about 95% sure.
Black Warrior Imaginary isn't connected to Bankhead. Um,
No, it's not. It's
the,
I don't know the reason why they decided to reintroduce that. I mean,
yeah,
first of all, like the whole let's add a predator that's not been here for the last 50 years thing gets on my nerves because like just give people another tag. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
why do
I,
such silly things?
Man,
But
I really don't know when it comes to that. You probably got money changing hands. You probably got some PETA involved. I mean, you never know what agencies are involved in these things
right,
that make no sense. And I
right.
agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
and the thing is like, it was funny because like he didn't know at all and he was going in there going to his tree stand, and as he's walking down the trail, all of a sudden he hears howls behind him and he's like, okay, that's weird, probably coyotes. And then he starts hearing the rustling of leaves and things running, and he turns and looks, and it's a pack of black Mexican wolves coming right at him. And
Yeah.
he drops all his gear and he scrambles up the nearest tree,
Wow.
and they tree him for, I think he said it was like
Wow.
an hour or two
That's great.
before they gave up and he could come down. So yeah, they're out there. It's
Man,
another thing to be mindful of.
to be mindful and also to say that's an amazing, and there's no doubt in my mind it's true.
Yeah.
Well, things happen when you're out there, from the weird and unexplainable to the beautiful and most amazing scenery. I mean, and because it's wild. Uh, when
Yeah.
you're in places like this. Um,
Hmm.
anybody hadn't, I know Daryl's in the chat. I've got to say that I'm a moderator, and people not probably know in Daryl's group, Bigfoot believers and other creatures. Man, they're talking about 60,000 people in this private
Yes.
Facebook group, and I mean, all I can say is that in 60,000 people be wrong about something, because some of them are there that've had experiences. Some of them are there to try to figure out maybe what happened to them. Just like all these podcasts that you're doing. We appreciate it because that's what we're after. Is, the truth.
Right.
So
Yes. And shout out to Mr. Darrell
yeah,
again. And guys, y'all go check him out. Go check him
yeah,
out.
man. Yeah, if y'all want to join the group, you just got a questionnaire there. And come, just go. It's not just a. We don't allow anybody to ridicule or make fun of anybody, or you know, that's the main thing, because that's what
Yep.
has kept this subject stifled so long. But now that so many people's realizing that there's something to it, that
Hmm.
just it's a good time to be in the subject matter and get it out there. But yeah, if you
For
want to
sure.
join us, Bigfoot Believers and Other Creatures on Facebook, uh, be happy to join. You won't see a bunch of things you probably won't see anywhere else. So okay,
Excellent. So yeah,
so
so we're at the point of two scared does.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what's going on?
Well, these doe come back and they come by me and they run by me. They go right back. They come that morning. It's very early. For them, and something was chasing them. I thought it was a buck, but they were actually too young to even, be in heat or whatever. So they get up there. It's a predator, and I never see it. And I'm sitting there waiting. The does go by, and I'm waiting for this whatever it is to show itself, and it never does. Weird, but animals are weird. So whatever it was, I never seen. I didn't think anything till afterwards. So I go home, and get ready to go hunting the next day. So it's Saturday, and I get everything ready, and just like I did the following morning, I go to my place. I get there, good time, and everything. An hour before daylight, everything gets settled down after walking in, and I'm sitting there, and about 8:30, here comes so this hunt you're able to harvest a buck and a doe.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah. I go back to my place, and about 8:30, here comes this doe, this big doe, out of the bedding area, just like they come the day before. She's by herself, ain't got any little ones, so I'm gonna harvest this doe.
Yeah.
And so she gets right down there, better come as close as she can. One shot, just right in the head, quickly done and over with, no suffering for the animal, and less mess for me, because you don't want to shoot them in the vitals unless you got a good shot. You don't want to shoot them in the vitals. Keeps you messing everything up. That way, when I go to clean the deer, it's less mess. I just unzip, just unzip her, I cape her down, and reach up and cut her windpipe as close as I could, to her head, her anal tube, and they always got a membrane that holds all the vitals in, and just cut up a membrane. You know what I'm saying? Everything come out at once.
Right.
So as clean and efficient as we can, and $100,000 truck and $15 muffler. Huh?
That's how it is here in Bama, bro.
Anyway, so I get, but I didn't bring a harness. I didn't bring a dolly, anything to carry a deer out with. A buddy of mine was supposed to meet me down there. He didn't show up. Same one was telling you don't blend. So something happened. He's an electrician, so he'd have called. But
okay.
So here I am down in this bottom with this hollow, this hillside, straight up, and I've got it. There's nothing to do with me to take this doe and throw it over my shoulder and try to house her up this hill, and I did. But so I did that, throw a deer on my full size doe, and I throw her on my shoulder, and I'd carry about 20 feet, and I'd just fall down. So I'd flop her down, and I just found beside her, rest, a little bit, and I'd go back and get my gun, just a terrible relay all the way up this hill till I got her into the green field, and I tied something to her and started dragging her, but I got her to the truck. But now in the meantime, I've got my hunter's orange on. Now it's public land; you've got to wear a hunter's orange. And not only is it a law, but I suggest you wear hunter's orange because you never know who's on these public hunts.
Right.
So anyway, I had my hunter's orange on, and when I was carrying this deer up the hill, she had blood got on me, and hair, sinew, and fat, whatever. Right. She's opened up. And I say that because I believe it comes into play later.
Okay.
So I take the deer, I get up there, and like I said, I started about 8:30. By the time I get her all cleaned up, I come on and get her to the truck. It's about 11:30. So I'm gonna go eat lunch again. I did the same thing. I actually took the deer by processor, which is right here around the house, big hunt community. So I took and dropped her off at Heaps, and I went to the house, got me a couple bottles of water, cleaned up a little bit, washed some off of it, I still had, and I go back again for the evening hunt. And so I get back to my place. I'm going to the same place. It's been productive. I've seen a few deer, and it's just getting more action apparent. But when I got there, that gut pile, it was in a whole gut pile there. Not messed up, not shot up. Everything was there, liver, kidneys, whatever, on a pile. And I got back there and it's gone. I just
Okay.
and I'm looking around. I'm like, man, I'm in my right place. I'm sure I am. There's a tree. There's a stand I've been in. That is kind of puzzling.
Yeah.
But the gut pile's gone. I thought, dang man, what a pack of coyotes come down here and gobbled up that freaking gut pile while I was just gone. Short time I was gone, and I should have realized that wasn't a pack of coyotes, because a pack of coyotes would have, or any one animal would have come down there and tried to ravish and devour that gut pile. The leaves would have been all messed up, and it would have been a whole scene. There would have been pieces and bits around, but there was nothing. It was just like something picked it up and walked off with it. And I believe that's what happened.
Yeah.
So when I was down, I really looked for this gut pile. Once I seen it was gone, I wanted to find it, because I thought that was it was puzzling. And so when I got down, I was looking, and there was a place where I know it was laying, because where my blood and stuff was on these leaves, around.
Right.
This little creek's running up through this hollow too. It's a little stream. It hadn't had water in at the time. I remember I washed my knife off in it when I got through the first time. I remember looking up the creek. It looked like, looking back now, I mean, it looked like footsteps. It looked like the leaves were messed up, where something had, looking back now, like something picked the gut pile up and walked.
Right, that makes sense.
Because just looking at the moment, till I reflect, you don't catch everything at the moment. I wasn't thinking Bigfoot. I wasn't thinking Sasquatch at this time. But looking back, when I look, and I remember looking up that creek and seeing the impressions on the leaves, it come back to me like. But anyway,
yeah.
So I brushed it off again. I just ran it to the fact some coyotes come down there and got it. It was gone. I figured some scavengers. But anyway, so I go back and I set in my place for the evening hunt. Didn't see anything else. So I write all that off. I mean, this is my time. It's worked all year. This hunt's like my vacation, man. So I'm having a good time regardless of this weird stuff. And Sunday I go back. Same thing, do it all over again. Get there at the same time. Nothing comes out. I don't see anything. I sat there about 11 o'clock. And so I done got bored. I mean, I've done cleaned a deer. I'm like, well, I've kind of messed the spot up. So I was thinking, because I shot a deer there, cleaned a deer there, even though it's never mattered before, I'm just going to change spots. I'd sit there all morning. So, it's cold. I wanted to walk around, get warmed up. And so this green field I was telling you about goes down through there, and it digs around for about a mile. So I'm going to do some stalk hunting, in the middle of the day on the Sunday. And I'm going to, because every time you go around that curve, there's nobody else hunting the place except me. And so I know that there's nobody parked at the gate. So I'm just stalking around this field, because every time you go around one of those Z's, you have a chance of, intercepting something feeding on the green field. Good place to stalk hunt. So I eased down. I got 30-30 and 11 shells in it. And I stalked down this green field. And at the end of it, my buddy had told me also there's some waterfalls down there. Bankhead is known as the land of 1,000 waterfalls. I mean, you can look it up on YouTube. It's got these waterfalls everywhere.
Yeah.
I guess the forest was a lot of size and captivity back in ancient times. It's created these caves and waterfalls. And so I'm going to stop down here, and I'm going to go look at these waterfalls, just make a day out of it. I've done harvested a doe, I don't get a good big buck, but I'm trying. So let's change place. And so I'm going to go down here and look at these waterfalls. And I did. And I got down there, and the green field ended. I said about a mile out down there. So I get down there, green field ended. Beautiful day. It's sunny. February 1st, 2nd, something like that. And I get down there and I look across the hollow where I was hunting up front. I told you it's, kind of small. They're kind of funneled right
Yeah.
there. Just the beginning of the hollow. By the time I got down here, you got this great big hollow. So sure enough, I get down there, man, about 400 or 500 yards across this great old big hollow. It's the main hollow in Bankhead. And you look across and there's this great big waterfall. Beautiful waterfall. And it's got one trickling beside it like a postcard. And it was awesome. It's the first time I've ever been there and seen them. So I just sat down, on a log that was on the end of the green field and on the edge of the hollow, right on the edge where it started going down to the woods. I'm looking to this green field, just taking in the video,
Yeah.
Lit me a cigarette. And I'm sitting here on this log, and I've got my gun in my hand. And the hunter's orange that I had on, where I hossed that doe. I mean, it's the only hunter's orange I had.
Right.
And I had it on. It still had blood and everything on it. I say, and I said that earlier because I'm sitting there on this log, and all of a sudden, something stepped on a limb behind me. About 12 o'clock, at whatever, at my 5 o'clock behind over my shoulder to the right.
Yeah.
Something stepped on a limb, or limb snapped, and it was loud, and it was really close, and it startled me. And when it did, and I jumped up. I'm right-handed, so I had to spin all the way around to see what this was.
Right.
And when I turned around, what I seen was it was a 7.5 foot or 8 foot tall man with covered in gray hair, like it was a color of like a coyote, but it was thick.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know how it got up that hill behind me without me hearing it. I mean, there's leaves all on the ground. It just, when I turned around, I was totally blown away, shocked, whatever. But I was also in hunting mode. So, I mean, I was in protective mode. I say that because, I don't know. I think it thought I was a wounded deer. I think it smelled that on my hunter's orange. That's why I wanted to be sure that everybody knew that I had blood all over my hunter's orange. I think it crept up there thinking I was a wounded deer that somebody may have shot there, and because I'm sure they see this all the time. And then realized and there was sage grass. Like, okay, if it was crawling on all fours and it was trying to sneak up on me or a deer or whatever I thought it was, there's no way it could have seen me unless I stood up, or maybe it had stood up. But I believe that limb snap was intentional to make me move to see what I was, because I mean, it was just so intentional. I don't and how it crept up on me and stalked up that hill to where I say it's where it come from. It had to. I'd seen it otherwise. I mean, I was, but I think it snapped on him intensely, made me move. But I think it thought I was a wounded deer, and when it seen I was a hunter or what I was, it kind of acted like, oh no, and because when I seen it, I didn't see it in the face. When I seen it, it was turned to the side. It was lunging.
Yeah.
It took off running away from me, like it knew I was going to shoot it.
Right.
I mean, and I did come up and I had my rifle up because it freaked me out, scared.
I mean, that's fair. That's 100% fair.
Yeah. I mean, I was totally in defense mode. In hunting mode, I wasn't in defense mode. I went into defense mode as soon as it come up, but I never thought to. I would have never shot it unless it had come and attacked me. Right. distinctly come up with my rifle. But it was huge, man. It looked like a giant, like a giant.
Yeah.
I
Now,
said giant. I mean, a giant man.
yeah.
Its
Now,
shoulders were massive.
yeah, I was about to say, so like with that being said, can you like paint us a picture? Like
Sure.
give us the details that you remember from that.
Yeah, man. I mean, you take like a mental screenshot in your mind of certain when
Oh
something
yeah.
like this happens. And I mean, the first one I get, I'll never forget it. It's when I first seen it. I turned around and it was like it had just looked at me and turned to run away. And when I caught it, I never seen it right in the face, but I seen its profile.
Mm-hmm.
But it took off. It turned into animal running mode.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I first seen it, just a giant, great, big man. I mean, just
Mm-hmm.
wide shoulders, even at his belly and everything. It's just massive all over. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it had to weigh. I mean, just a guesstimate, I say 800 pounds. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
overreact to it, but I mean, it would be that tall and that massively big. I mean, there's no way I can say it weighed. If I was being honest, I'd say 800 pounds. I'm a pretty good judge of weight. I mean, being a country boy, being around, my dad weighed 350. It was
Right.
over two of him,
Mm-hmm.
that you could put into that frame. But it when it seen me, it instinctively was just like, oh shit, and it took off.
Right.
It lunged off of the side of that hollow. So, and, at one point, when I seen it, I'm within 10 yards of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was really close and freaked me out for a long time. But
Right.
anyway, when I seen it in the moment, it took off, and I instinctively had that rifle. It just took off down the hill, so it just disappeared, like it dropped off, like it jumped off a cliff. But I mean, say it's like that. It wasn't a cliff. It was a gradually, hollow
Right.
that went down, gradually got, as like I said, it's 400 yards over them waterfalls.
Mm-hmm.
I instinctively, because I didn't know what it was. When I
Right.
first seen it, I mean, looking back at screenshots, what I'm saying, I know what I've seen. But at
Right.
the
Right.
moment, in the moment, it all happened like in a blur fast. It took off, and I instinctively run up and looked down into the hollow. That's 3x9 scope, and when I seen it, the pads of its feet, it went down on all fours, and I mean, it's the fastest thing you've ever seen in your life, and the weirdest
Yeah.
running of anything you've ever seen. It runs.
Now, while it's
Go
on
ahead.
all fours, like
Yeah.
what was like say the body position and the arms like as it ran? Was it
Okay. Okay.
how did that work?
All right. I want to
There's
tell
a
you.
reason why I ask.
Well, there's a reason I'm going to tell you. I'm glad you asked, because nobody's
Okay.
ever asked before. Because I'm going to tell you something. It's the
Okay.
weirdest damn thing you've ever seen. It was running. It was running like its back legs were propelling it. Its arms, which were way longer than they were ever supposed to be, which is creepy as
Yeah.
hell, was out in
Uh-huh.
front of it, man, like it was running on its back legs, like it was sitting down to cheer. It's hard for me to explain this. I've seen it on MK Davis. It's Whitey's run. As soon as I seen it on MK, I was like, okay, he's got one of these things on camera. I know he does, because he's running just like this one running. It
Mm-hmm.
was weird. It was like running like it was sitting down to cheer, like his back legs were propelling it, but it was leaning forward and had its arms way out here, like just like balancing it every now and then. Now it did get to where it was loping, but all the way down that hill. Maybe because it's on the incline, I don't know, but it didn't even act like it was running on its front arms.
Mm-hmm.
I say arms because they weren't legs. They were arms. Its hands. It had hands, man. They looked like a rack of bananas, man. They're like a catcher's mitt. His fingers were,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It was massive. They all over. The pads of its feet, didn't have any hair on them. And when they'd flash, when it was running, pop, 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 you just see the bottom of its feet flash as it was going down that hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it, and, it was so fast that when it got down into the bottom, went to a little bit of flat land, it's bobbing around these trees and stuff. There's all these are off the trees. I could see, everything.
Right.
Unluckily, but
Right. Right.
it was because it was weird. The hair hanging out its arms, and
Mm-hmm.
but when it got down into the flat part of the hollow, it started running. It did start using its arms like hands. It was like
Mm-hmm.
grabbing for earth and like it pulling it forward, and it went fast. It was so fast. It was like I don't think compared the speed to, it's like a cheetah on one of these
Mm-hmm.
YouTube
Yep.
that you see these cheetahs chasing these gazelles, just a burst of speed, but it
Yeah.
instantly went into it, man. It was all the way. It kept that speed up all the way down. When it
Mm.
finally got to the other side, kind of by these waterfalls, there was like an animal, like a trail going up beside these waterfalls. I mean, I'm sure people
Mm-hmm.
come look at them too, but anyway, there was a trail going up beside the waterfalls, and it hit that trail and went up beside these waterfalls and over the hill,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, it was gone
Mm.
when it's gone. But the size of it, the whole thing, best look I got of it going up that trail beside those waterfalls, because I could see it, and its back is like I was behind it
Mm-hmm.
with it racing out and everything. The whole creature was, and it was 10, 12, it was between 10 and 12 feet long. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
With its arms and everything stretching out. I mean,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it went over the hill. It went over the top of that ledge, and it was gone. And so I'm sitting there finally, just, I don't know, man. I was thinking, but I knew it was gone. And people say, well, if you see one, there's another one. I don't think there was another one. If it was, it never made itself known to me. I got the feeling that this male, and I mean, I'd say it had to be a male. It was just the way his body was built. I mean, I didn't see
Mm-hmm.
breast or anything, but I'd never seen the front. But I'm just saying, you can tell a man's bigger. But
Right.
I believe it was looking for its own territory, or got pushed up there by some hunters that it went in the back, just like some of the deer do, some of the other, that late in the season. And I believe it smelt that blood and stuff on my hunter's
Right.
arms and thought I was a deer and a wounded animal, and come up there to see what happened. But I mean, walking back, I wasn't thinking Bigfoot. Even when I seen it, because I mean, it just never, that's something that was,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
on my
fair.
right.
Mm-hmm.
But,
So, as far as like, all right, so like the head, was the head more rounded? Was it conical?
it
What do
was
you recall of
big.
that?
It was big and blocky. If I say that, because it was like, kind of like that. If I can see that pose, if you can imagine. I mean, it didn't really have a neck. I'm sure it had
Right.
a neck. It probably had a neck, but it wasn't in length, and it was covered up by these massive shoulders, and its head was,
Mhm.
it was just huge. Its head
Yeah.
was huge. It didn't. Now, I say I seen it from profile. I seen it. I didn't really look for a comical head. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
As wide as it was, and the girth of it was, that's where I was really concentrating. I could get over how big and wide it was, and so I was.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was running up through there, it either had its head down,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
which would be natural, not to expose itself to. I believe it knew what that gun would do.
Mm-hmm.
I believe when it seen I was a hunter, it seen that arms, it knew I was a hunter who has
Yeah.
guns. It's probably seen these hunters shoot before. If they're any knowledgeable creatures, I'm sure they have knowledge of
Yeah, for
hunters.
sure.
What
For sure. Now, did you get a good look at its face, like facial features, like
No,
no.
I
Okay.
didn't. I've seen his profile. When I was on Bigfoot, I was to start with. Kerry was asking me the same thing. He was
Okay.
going to get I forget his name. They done sketchings. They done sketchings of
Mm-hmm.
this guy was an artist, and he was drawing what people had seen. And I told him I'd be willing to, but since I just seen the profile of it, I mean, I didn't really see it in the face. But I'm really glad, like Daryl, man. Seeing this thing in the face, and Kerry Arnold had these too aggressive encounter, and Daryl did too. And seeing him in the face, I mean, it leaves an impression on you. It's not really a good impression.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you close your eyes, you can see it perfectly in your mind, can't you?
I'm sure Daryl wrestled with that for a long time. I mean, Kerry Arnold did too. I keep bringing up Daryl. Kerry Arnold's first one. He done Bigfoot Odyssey. God rest his soul, rest in peace. We lost Kerry to a truck accident a couple years ago, which was crazy.
Right.
But so I was kind of lost, But my buddy gone, and hey man, I find Daryl, that's went through this same experience, and he's got this group, and he, invited me in, made me a moderator, and it was just so healing of him. It's like, and he went through the same thing, Kerry, and Daryl's experience, please, it's on YouTube, and he's just like me, he'll share it, because, now that you get over the trauma of it and realize these creatures are what they are, it's good to get on podcasts like yours and just let everybody know, hey, you're not crazy. They're out there. But
right.
we get back, I decided to finish this up. But after the encounter, when I seen it, I went back. Everything starts playing back in my mind. Within 20 feet of going through my Rolodex of predators, I realized that I've done seen one of these Bigfoot Sasquatch people been talking about.
Right.
And I started, even now I know why those doe come running up at me like that, spooked by, and whatever it was never come out. I believe that it was in my area. I believe it. I heard the shot the next morning when I shot that doe. I believe it come down there, which is still kind of creepy to think it sat there and watched me, cleaning that deer. And then when I left, just come down there and picked up the whole gut pile of things it might like to eat. It had the liver, it had the kidneys. I mean, there's a bunch of things there it probably needs, vitamins, iron. I mean, even though they're type of maybe feral human crossed with something else that, they're going to eat wild. So
yeah, and to be fair, like if we look at it like as far as natural animal in the woods, right? The majority of the vitamins and minerals and nutrients, basically, that you would get off of any carcass, like the majority of it is actually within all the guts and all that.
Liver,
so much so
kidneys,
right, and so much so that liver for wild animals is prized. I mean, just look at a wolf pack. Like the alpha wolf, the very first thing that he eats when they make a kill is the liver. Let's
bring up the orca. Let's bring up the orcas that are killing these great white sharks off the coast of Florida. They kill them because they're predators. I guess on their young, but the only thing they do is eat the liver and then just discard the rest.
Yeah.
But so the liver is definitely a prize. That as humans we just got to where we eat what we want. We just want the backstrap, maybe the hindquarters and stuff like that.
Right.
But some people do eat the liver. I mean,
liver's good. I like liver.
Yeah, liver is good. My uncle used to raise cows, man. Liver and onions are really, really good.
They really are. Yeah, I agree. So there's that, and the other thing that's I feel like is interesting there. Like I'm gonna kind of build up to the other points, but like one interesting detail about all of this that I'm noticing is a theme that's kind of all throughout, and even with my own experiences as well, is that you have a source of water right there, right? Like this entire time you're there by a little river or a stream, something along those lines, plus waterfall.
Unknowingly, I just want to say unknowingly to me, that little stream that run down that I had access to at the time doesn't have water in it all the time. But I did know those waterfalls were at the end of those. So that was a realization for me too.
So not only, do you have water for things to drink, but that's also an energy source,
Yes,
So that's interesting. I mean, that's like I said, that's always the thing.
it is.
Yeah,
Um,
and as far as it like watching you, I mean, I think that's
yeah,
extremely likely because, if you make a shot and it runs off, like you make a bad shot and it runs off,
right,
that presents an opportunity for it to get it before you. But obviously that didn't happen,
right.
so it's got,
I think, yeah.
go ahead.
No, I've heard stories like where people shoot deer and they don't never find their deer, or
Hmm.
maybe something got it. I've heard those stories before. I don't think they're as common as we think, but because I think these creatures they're smart enough. They go to lengths, man, to disguise them, to hide themselves. I don't think they would, unless they're
Yeah.
really hungry, man. Would they blatantly sit there and wait for? If
Right.
they're wounded or something. I mean, they're wild animals, and
Right. Right.
just think
Well,
they may come to it. But that one, being in my area, I mean, apparently he was hungry. He'd heard me shoot.
mhm.
I think he already knew I was there by when he chased those. I believe that's what chased those does up there to me. So out of character, and I believe
Right.
he scented me. He either scented me or knew I was there by whatever reason, and I believe he was in the area.
Hmm.
It just seemed like to me was a maybe got kicked out of his clan or left his clan to find his own area or his own turf, you know,
Yeah.
and
Maybe.
start his own clan. And maybe I don't, there's so much I got from it like that.
Hmm.
A
Well, yeah.
couple
I mean,
things,
it's possible.
yeah,
The
well, a
thing
couple things,
is, yeah. The thing about it is though, like, if we think about being opportunity wise, right?
right,
So like, okay, if it's watching you, let's just say it's watching you, it's knowing
yeah,
exactly what you're doing, you just don't know.
right, yeah, I didn't, yeah,
Okay.
I never did.
Right. So if it's watching you and it sees you make a headshot, obviously the deer is not running very far, so it's like, okay, I can't just go and get the whole thing.
Right,
I'm just gonna hang out and wait because this is easier than fast food. He's gonna leave me what, 40, 50 pounds worth of the most nutritious stuff in the woods?
right. The liver, the heart, the kidneys, everything I like. Yeah,
Exactly.
wait a minute. Yeah, looking back, that's what I'm sure happened. But
Hmm.
at the moment, like I said before, it's more than just a rabbit hole. You go down, it took
Yeah.
me all this time to figure out that, he was just hungry. Uh,
Yeah.
that they're maybe smart enough to know what a gun does.
Oh yeah.
Uh, the look on his face and the way he acted when he seen that I was not a wounded animal and I come up with that rifle.
Hmm.
I mean, he was running because he thought he was going to get shot or whatever. Uh,
Right.
Not scared of me because he could have had me any time if that's
Oh
what
yeah.
he wanted to do. But he seen that gun and just like he picked up a snake, oh shit, he took off. And
Right.
going back, I'm walking back to the truck, man. I was thinking all stuff going through my mind. The gut pile being gone, the leaf impressions, that I've seen when I was looking up through there. I should have known it wasn't a pack of coyotes come down
Right.
there because they ravish everything. There's mess, believe just be so messed up and bits and pieces still left because I've come back up. And
Hmm.
I, but man, so when I walk out of this, I'm seeing what I see.
Hmm.
Hey Rebecca, so glad to see her. Um, they're also in the group with us. But when I walked out, man, I got out to the road. The game warden's out there checking license, and there's some few hunters around there that
Hmm.
they'd come from another spot that's across the little gravel road where he's at. And he's checking license and everything. You know, I didn't think nothing about it. I walked up, started getting my license out, and I said, "Hey, man, y'all have Sasquatch here, Bigfoot here?" Just had said it right out in front of
Yeah.
everybody, and didn't think anything about it. Now, of course, he his eyes got big. He looked at me. These guys over here start kind of laughing. One of them just kind of put his head down. I realized what I'd said after I'd said it.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked down and like, well, I said it now. Well, I told him, I said, hey, hey, man, I was saying something great.
Yeah.
And he cut me off right quick. He said, He said, you probably seen a feral dog. He said, you know, that we used to dog hunt up here. I know they used to dog hunt up there. Hell, I used to go with my dad's my first memory of being alive, being in Bankhead,
Yeah.
you know, with my mom at camp and dad in the mouth. But he told me I'd seen a feral dog. And I just looked at him like, are you fucking idiot? I mean, I just told him, you know, I've seen it. I just, and the guy's laughing. I got embarrassed for a minute. I went on to my truck and I drove on home, you know.
Yeah.
But then, you know, of course, all night I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do there to start with at first because, and then, you know, pretty soon I got to look at YouTube and everything. I didn't tell anybody, you know, about it because I needed to start ridicule and stuff lined up with even. I didn't even want my own family to know it. I mean, that would think it's crazy. But then I got to look at YouTube and everything, and like I said, man, I've never met M.K. Davis. He's in our group. Everybody's met him. It's a big kind of joke that everybody's met him except me. I got him on Tom's podcast. Got Tom in touch with him, and the only reason I keep saying about it because he's got footage on there that really let me know that what I seen was a real creature, and then I get to listening to experiences. I heard a guy named Mike Woolley. Somebody when I was on one of these podcasts, they want somebody to comment. Oh, he heard Mike Woolley's story. I'm like, who the hell is Mike Woolley? And so I looked up Mike Woolley's story, and he'd had an encounter. Rest in peace. I know he passed away now, but just 6 months ago, I finally looked at this Mike Woolley's encounter, and he had kind of the same thing happen to him. It's just a deer that one of these things had been chasing.
Right.
Come up right in front of him, just laddered up and been sweating. They've been chasing. And he just finally got tired and laid down in front of his stand. So I guess that's how they made the connection. But I've never heard Mike Woolley's story until about 6 months ago. But and there was two of them, and they ended up chasing him out of the woods.
Yeah.
It took shots at him. I mean, that was some of these encounters, that you hear. I mean. And people disappearing, I mean, in the woods. I'm not marking it off that this has happened.
Right. And, that's the thing. Like, whenever you have an experience, like, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to just bottle it all up? Or,
No.
I mean, that can't be healthy. I mean, you got to go out there and find answers. You got to get... you got to try to find affirmation or whatever you need to sleep better at night, right?
Thank goodness now. Thank goodness now that it's happened. I mean, man, come on. There's 60,000 people in this group I'm in, Bigfoot believers and other creatures. Right. The amount of tracks and evidence that are out there that even started with the Patterson Gimlin film. I mean, they went out and took. When I first seen the Patterson Gimlin film, I was like, that's a fake. The first thing that comes to your mind, because the first thing that comes to your mind when you see one of these creatures is that's a man in a suit. Well, because your mind goes there because they're so human-like, the way human-like walking. This thing, I ain't gonna say it was human-like, but then again, it was fleeing in its defense. And running strange because it was not built exactly like a man, but kind of like a man when I first seen it. That's what I seen was a man, but when it done it in a totally unhuman-like way.
Right.
Which is that's just a way that they are created, by God, by the Creator, or whatever. I mean, people compare them to the Nephilim. I want to say this. Back in the day when I first got on when I first went on Bigfoot Odyssey. And I got into the phenomenon a little bit and down what's more than just a rabbit hole, and I found out, what they were about. You couldn't have told me that they may be from another dimension or from another, coming through where the veil is thin, able to be here for a moment to hunt or do whatever they're doing here and maybe go back. And now I almost know that in some cases that's the case. I've got a friend named Lanita Bryant. She lives in Oxford, Alabama.
Yeah, I know
She's got,
Lanita.
man, you know Lanita. You know of her. Okay, man. So what she's got on her property is not what I seen in Bankhead. What I seen in Bankhead was a whatever it was in its flesh and blood form. Okay. Now, look, we really don't know what to think, but I'm on the table now. I don't cross anything off because I mean, what she's got is real. I mean, Todd Standing stayed at her house for 2 weeks trying to figure out what was going on. She said she hosted a conference, but what she's got there, it seems like the veil is thin where she's at. I also think that quartz being in the ground, it's just a theory of mine, that every time these encounters happen, they seem to happen in a place that's had really big seismic activity. Back in ancient times, like Bankhead, it's got a massive amounts of quartz in the ground, which is one of the biggest conductors of energy in the earth. Has to be tied to where the veil is thin, because what the natives got coming through on her place is not what I see in Bankhead. What I seen in Bankhead was in its flesh and blood. It was a flesh and blood creature. Whether it was here, and been here forever, or whether it had a way that it could come from another dimension through the veil. And if it sounds crazy to you or anybody out there, I don't mean you, but I mean anybody out there listening,
right?
Imagine I'm just 2017. That was 10 years ago. I've been, studying this. I'm still as into it today as I was 2 days after it happened.
I feel you, buddy. No, I mean, for me, like, I'm with you 100%. Like, I see this all as being related to the Nephilim as well, and to what extent that is, like, as far as, like, percentages go, I don't know. That would take a lot of DNA analysis, and if anything, we've learned that trying to trace what that is and just coming up with unknowns the entire time, it's like, how much research can you actually do to affirm that, so but I'm with you. I believe that is the case myself. And
tracks and tracks and tracks. We've got DNA, we've got hair samples, and yes, they're all the same. And you take hair samples somebody collected 8 years ago, and maybe some hair samples somebody collected 8 weeks ago, and then compare them, and they're the same type of hair, but we can't connect it to anything until we have one of these creatures for science to study. But I'll not be the one that shoots one. But some of these people that's got feeding stations, I don't see why we can't gently tranquilize one. If they've got them coming up and they've got such a relationship with them that they are eating food from feeding stations, why can't we tranquilize one very gently, softly, not hurt it, take it, study it live? And I mean, and then maybe keep it sedated and maybe let it wake up right back in its habitat. Where it was collected from. I mean, it would, anything to keep with technology. I mean, come on, we can split an atom, we can transfer it along, for God's sake. We can scientists figure out how to, tranquilize one of these creatures, keep it comfortable, sedated, and monitor its vitals until we got through studying it and taking and just gently put it back into its habitat where it come from, and it just more to think it maybe was a bad dream or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. But maybe, here's a thought now. What happens if, when you tranquilize one, it is no longer consciously, now let's just, we're assuming the Wu route and the Nephilim route, what I think. Whenever it loses consciousness, it's no longer willing itself to be here in this dimension, and then it just disappears into second heaven or something.
If it disappears in mid right there in front of God and everybody, then we will definitely know that they come from another dimension. So I mean, I just don't see I upset some people one time because I suggested this in the group, and I believe some people thought I was thinking, shoot it with a tranquilizer. That wasn't what I suggested. Everybody suggested, to harvest one, a body, You know, that we don't have to do that. We don't have to kill one. If they're out there, anything that's out there, any animal that is in
Mhm.
the natural world can be tranquilized and studied and released back. We already know that. We do it to elephants, we do it to lions, we do it to
Right.
bears. I mean, you know, that that's something that needs to be taken into consideration. If
Sure.
we want to get to the ball, we can just keep guessing. I mean, you know, but of course I can't do it. I'm just sitting here, me and you just bouncing ideas. But
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, let's go harvest some DNA from it, so that way the government can make super soldiers from it, right?
you know, they're probably already doing that. There's plenty of DNA
Oh, I
available.
guarantee you they are.
No, yeah. If they're successful to be doing that, I'm sure the government's already probably been
Yeah,
that route.
I
They
mean, because
probably
if there's already what would you say, like philanthropist type companies out there that are already gene editing and making dire wolves, which is in the news.
they are just the
I mean, it's
man.
not exactly a hard step to be like, a little bit
Seen
of
that
DNA from
yesterday.
that,
You believe
DNA over
that
here.
they are fixing to release dire wolves back on to the tundra. I mean, there's 3 of them already. They've
Yeah,
cloned. There's
yeah,
two males and another young female that they
yeah,
cloned later.
yep. So I mean,
They're
the moral is it's like it's not out of the realm of possibility, like
no
for that situation as
more than
well.
that. More than that. I mean, it's coming to. I mean, they've done it. There's 3 dire wolves alive now. They're put.
Hmm.
There's 2 they done. They call them brothers, but of course they cloned 2, and they also cloned a young female later on. Just look it up.
Yeah, yep,
I mean,
yep,
so and the mammoths, mammoths, they're thinking about, you know, cloning mammoths and releasing them back on to the tundra to kind of control whatever they think they figured out they can do. I think it's,
yeah,
I don't know what to
yeah,
think. It's we'll see how that plays out. But back to this Bigfoot Sasquatch. I mean,
yeah,
like Daryl. I mean, there's no only truth in him. From his experience. I mean, everybody knows that the truth is in the 60,000 people that's in his private group. The what happened to Kerry. I mean, it's never a doubt. We had a community there also that you
yeah.
know, and people on his podcast, and you can go and these people are still out there and they don't mind talking about it because
Mhm.
what it is. It's the truth. I mean, um,
Right. And that's the goal. Like ultimately, like all of this, like, for me, you know, when I had my experiences, I didn't feel like I had anybody to turn to. And that's why it took myself, so long to get over it and still be open to things to have happened. And if people are curious, go back, check it out. It's all documented on
I'm, I,
here.
I,
So
I hadn't seen it yet. I tell you, you had an encounter with an entity.
I've had a couple of entities. Yeah.
Okay,
I've got a few that I've seen. Like the moral is, like it's all about helping people, because people will see things and, they'll feel ostracized or alienated, like they
yeah,
don't know where to go. And the important thing is to have community, be like,
right,
listen, this is a safe place. Come here, learn from other people's experiences. You're not alone. Other people have seen this, and it's therapeutic. And if you want to get it off your chest, bring it here. I'm happy to
yeah,
have you on, or I'm happy to tell it for you, whatever.
exactly.
And there's a million
We've
of
got a
me
chat
out
on
there
Facebook.
too.
We've got a chat on Facebook. Fisher's fan on our chats on Facebook, right? I mean, I guess it's
Yeah,
open
yeah.
to everybody. Pam,
Oh
Mary,
yeah.
man, she's a great help to everyone. Let's just talk about
Mhm.
Pam It's right there. She helps Tom, helps you. She's a great person. I'm friends with. Harley Owens, man. Uh,
Yep.
what did you think after your experience with Harley? I mean, I know you're still going through it, but come on.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, man,
Yeah,
it was so interesting. The places that we went to a couple weeks ago was intense. We had a
yeah,
lot of activity. I shot a lot of footage. I'm really excited to be able to
I am
drop
too.
that documentary.
Me
And
too.
like
Can't wait to see it, man. I know Harley now that I've seen him on podcasts. We're friends on.
Yeah.
We follow each other on TikTok, man.
Mhm.
And he's the real deal. He kind of took up where some of Scott Carpenter's work, I think. And
Yep.
the speculation, I haven't got to talk to Harley. I'd like to
Yeah,
talk
and
to him.
actually, that's where we were. Was at Scott Carpenter's old place there, and
I was kind of fishing for that. Thanks. I thought you wanted to
yeah,
but
we
you got
were.
that playing. Everybody knows how active that place is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I said earlier, I don't know if I was talking to you. Well, I know I told you, but I don't know if I told the crowd. We saw five. Five.
Crazy.
Oh well, okay. I don't know if they were different ones. They might have all been the same, but I put my eyeball on five.
Well, hey man,
So,
MK Davis goes down to Bluff Creek, of course, because he's so into the Patterson Gimlin film. He's down there just on a, not really. They're down there looking for signs and evidence, and but this is whatever. How many years later, 30, 40 years later, and he films. He goes back and looks through his film. And he's got two. He found there's one crouching under a freaking. The Croucher video is there's one crouching under a bush by the creek, and he's right there filming, and it's right there on the right. He never seen it till 7 years later. There's another one. They could just call it Harry because it's a big, hairy, Bigfoot right in the background that he finds later on. That in when he finds this Croucher, he goes and looks through his own video, and there's another one just standing there by a tree, big as hell, right in the face, just and it,
yeah, and I'm not at the point where I'm scrubbing through the footage, like, analyzing everything right now. I'm letting Harley and Pam do that, and whoever else that volunteers when I show them the clips, and the stuff that they've like screenshotted and sent back to me, like, bro, look at this, and it's just like, oh my gosh,
Look, I'm going to predict that if you shot all that footage, Jim, that don't be surprised, buddy. You're going to end up finding a bunch of stuff in there.
Oh yeah,
I'm going
so
to predict
far
because,
it's been interesting.
Yeah,
Like,
it could be one
I'm
of the.
impressed.
It could be one of the top films of caught video evidence that you never know because the place y'all are in is so totally active. You got everything. Scott Carpenter's is undeniable place in his footages, and up till the fox, the Bigfoot that lived on the Carter farm. If you've ever heard James Carter's and the 50 years of Bigfoot, that's an amazing documentary. It's
I mean, we're going to show like a bunch of footprints that we caught. Obviously, I've got a short of Harley casting one. I think the biggest one we saw was either 20 or 22 inches long, 12-inch toe spread, 8-inch heel. I mean, it was active.
I'm not professional on cast, but from what I know, that's about as big as they get. You're looking at an individual that's got to be over 15 feet tall.
Yeah,
I mean that's almost two. Come on, man.
Yeah, I saw one that was standing behind what I'm pretty sure was a juvenile, and I thought it was a juvenile itself until after the activity died down and we went over there. Like, I went and looked where the juvenile was standing, and I looked at where the other one behind it was, and the problem was it was too far back where it was standing. So to be at that same height at that distance, that sucker had to be pretty daggum big. So
and when you're going through your footage, I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if everything was green or how or dead or whatever, but if you see something miscolored, you may be looking down here for it, but you may need to get back because it may be.
Yeah.
You may need to zoom back out because it may be something way taller than you're ever thinking to look for.
Oh yeah, and when all that gets released, I'll do my best to zoom everything in and show all the screenshots, and it's going to be a great film. I promise everybody.
I'll share everything in the group and in all the groups, Tom's group, Jupiter, and can't say enough good thing about Tom, man. We become really good. Me and Tom's really good friends. I consider him a good friend. He turned me on to you. That's why I'm here. So like I said, not only that, man, I'm blessed to meet so many good people in this group. good guys, just good people.
Awesome.
Oh,
But yeah, man, so that's what's going on there, and like I said, it's going to be a good time, and I'm excited. I'm glad I'm getting to the point where all of my little clips are put together and
yeah,
sequenced on there, so I can actually start digging in and putting in the juicy bits, you know, the screenshots, the
yeah,
voiceovers, and the fun things like that. It's
yeah.
going to be great.
The,
And
the, the, the surprise by Sasquatch, that you put here, since you
mhm,
did name it, like it will be right there when you look it up on YouTube. It's gonna be right there with me on Sasquatch theory, me on Bigfoot honesty. So
yeah,
I mean, thank it's that it's. I hope it gets a lot of views, man. I appreciate you
okay,
having me on, and
yeah,
can't wait to see what all comes out from you and Harley's trip.
yeah, it's going to be a good time. Well, with that being said, man, you ready to get out of here?
Yeah, man, let's go. I appreciate everybody coming by, man. Uh, 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 Strive to Fisher spam, just trying to get the truth out there. If you've been through something like this, get in touch with Jim here, or me, or anybody. We can maybe get you where you can make sense of whatever's happening. Try to help you out.
For sure. It's all about community. We're here to help because we
Right.
love you guys.
That's right.
So, with that being said, Darren, I'm going to send you back into the back, hang out for a minute, and I'll be right
All right,
back,
bro.
okay?
All right.
Alrighty. Well, guys, that was the show. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I hope we maybe were able to glean some details and learn a little bit and, just kind of add to the bank of knowledge and be able to formulate the opinions that help us sleep better at night. Or, whatever floats your boat. I hope, if nothing else, you guys enjoyed it because Darren's a cool dude, and like you said, get in touch with him. Go hang out over there on the Facebooks. He's there. He's happy to help, and I'm always happy to help as well. So, there's that. Once again, like, subscribe. I hope everybody hit the like button on their way out. Go check out the Patreon. Dollar. Get extra stuff, early access. There's a great possibility that when the documentary with Harley is done, it'll probably be available there first. Good chance. But yeah, guys, I love you. I'm so glad I get to come back and hang out with you guys and get an actual schedule again. I am so excited about that. But yeah, y'all know the drill. Tookie tookie. I love you. Peace.
How it's supposed to feel.